I have always talked about accountability, transparency, rule of law, and participation. As at the moment, you are talking about a minister dispensing $200 and something million to a bank MD. You have not talked about who, where are central bank supervisors, what really was at stake. As at the time, the NNPC was declaring losses. So these are the basic issues we have not addressed. And then talking about our form of federalism, the states are weak. You've seen them come for bailout, which they did not even implement. So if you are talking, if you see a lot of people talking about fiscal federalism and the rest, do you have really the capacity? Well, all of us we are talking about, you have listened to the presentation on food items coming in. Do you have laboratories to do it? Can you move in Nigeria within 100 kilometers of road network? So these are the basic issues. You have no electricity. There are no labs. You have 100 and something universities, Indomie universities, manufacturing empty-headed certificated graduates who are unemployable within the 21st century. So these are the basic issues. 60% of active Nigerians who are working are either in Lagos and Abuja. If you go to the states and local governments, it is a horrible setting that we have had tyrants in the name of state governors. So these are the basic issues we should think about. So until you come to that level, that is when you will be able to think of legislation. 90% of the laws we have passed from 1999 till now are facing amendment because the consultation and the active technical and analytical capacity are lacking in most of them. And then the complementary setting through civil society, who will have been the watchdog on these issues. Like I have told you, you are in June. The estimates for the departments for 2017 budget must have been ready now. Yet you have not even started to execute what? The 2016 budget. It is now rainy season. So there will be no, every person will go home until maybe October or November. So if you are in a setting or in an economy within the 21st century that relies on rainfall and the rest of them, you don't have any sort of railway to move your products and the rest. So we are still within we are not even up to the 18th century. We are talking about grazing and ranch. Have you asked yourself the last time you saw cows on European and American roads? Then talk of carrying of cylinders, not to gas cylinders and gas flooding and the rest. So these are the issues where you are battling with basic issues. The basics are not there. Resident doctors go on strike whenever they want to because they are not paid. If you go to the hospitals, the facilities are not there. Then you are not even sure. Like I have said, if you are on a business engagement from $160 to 60 naira per dollar to this moment of 316, even the existing budget, is it really tangible or realistic? So these are the basic issues we have to ask ourselves. We have a medium-term expenditure framework that goes for 3 years. In 2015, within August to November, Nigeria had three different levels of medium-term expenditure. And nobody called the then Minister of Finance, Okonji Iweala, to come and explain on what we were running. Initially this year, we were all happy that you are starting on a zero-based budgeting. And some of us were asking the question, are you going on zero-based budgeting when you have a MTEP of 3 years? As of now, zero-based budgeting has gone into the cooler, just like fiscal federalism. The states are looking for money to pay salaries. So where are you talking about fiscal federalism? Anything that happens to the oil happens to you. At a point in time, you felt, okay, the banks have to go up. You are privatizing the banks. Now you are telling the banks that they should not retrench in the face of economic crisis.
Mr. Anyaegbunam,
at the same time, you have not even a clue of what your exchange rate will be, and then what you will sell, and the Avengers. You have now had a new nightmare called the Avengers, who are now breaking up pipelines. And some people feel, well, they are doing the right thing. How can they do the right thing?
Mr. Anyaegbunam, just allow me comment here, because
it will seem as if,
just allow me comment here. It will seem definitely we have a potpourri of issues here which you have raised, and the most important thing now is to see if we can proffer a bit of solution to some of these. You had written in times past on the National Assembly, the workings of the assemblies, and a couple of other issues you have raised in times past. What are those missing, things that this 8th Assembly hasn't had for the past 1 year that you think that if implemented in the next 365 days will put them on a better pedestal?
Yeah, like I have always said, cooperative governance is the route to effective democracy. The executive must be able to do what? Cooperate with the legislature. And then we must lay emphasis on research. It is disheartening that the National Assembly Budget and Research Office bill is still waiting. We need to strengthen that. The National Assembly, like I have said, the National Assembly has not been able to present itself very well. We are talking about National Assembly, looking only at the Senate and the House of Representatives. That National Assembly Budget and Research Office, National Assembly Service Commission, and the National Assembly Legislative Studies are key research areas. If you look at the American setting, you see the Library of Congress, Congressional Budget Office, and then the Research Center of the Congress are all equipped and then what? Funded very well. We have to take a holistic look at the National Assembly and then through cooperative emphasis on research. Most of our laws had shortcomings because we have not really done what? Focus on research. And then the next issue is this. The executive, in what we have so far, is a challenge of what? When the Americans had the New Deal, it came through law. Even MPN in 1980, within the 80s, Shagari came up with what? The Stabilization Act, which we call austerity measure then. Now we are supposed to have basic key legislation on what we are into and then have a bar. You cannot allow our currency to flow without any stop or check. Then secondly, there must be issues which the National Assembly will be able to handle. I said the executive has not been as cooperative as it ought to be. Funding of the National Assembly, the National Assembly on itself has to also make itself accountable by doing what? Having a transparent budget. 120 billion, 150 billion doesn't make any sense. You have to have a breakdown, and which we have them because most of these areas are critical areas. And then to take a look at our what? Budget cycle. It is disheartening that as you are releasing funds for the first quarter at June. So we have decided our budget cycle. So this we have to do, and then be able, more or less, to face the critical, critical research areas, issues of budget, issues of power. It is disheartening that Lagos-Ibadan Express Road, Abuja-Lokoja Road, Second Niger Bridge, then Southwest Road, and then even Sokoto, Kano, and the rest of them. We cannot think of viable roads to connect, talk less of the railways. I'm still saddened anyway, and I still have a puzzle that only CCECC is the companies going on rail, the monorail and the rest of them. None of them has functioned for how many years? So these are the critical issues we have to come through legislation. And then this emphasis of drawing on local government. It is time we define really. Local government by constitution is democratic. But almost 600 and something of them are now operating on what? On caretaker, which we must address, and then look at 20.6% goes to local government. And where is the funds going into? The chairman of the senator who has left the Senate discussed this, and it is tragic. And then we must look at our what? Our supreme audit and accountant general. The constitution talks about the accountant general report and the auditor general's report going to the same National Assembly through the Public Accounts Committee. Right, so these are the areas where we have to know. Nobody knows who is in control of our treasury. And look at the volumes of funds that are going around and nobody is accounting for them. You call EFCC to come after the fact. There is no internal audit. There is no supreme audit. And then how do we dispense funds that are not we are not accountable for?
Well,
so these are
we have a lot of issues.
Assembly, I'm surprised really that the Senate called for naivety reports.
Yeah, Mr. Anyaegbunam,
we should be talking about what is our Auditor General doing. And
these are the issues that
to take care of
These are the issues that we'll be focusing on in the days ahead, but we're afraid this is where we have to anchor this particular segment. We appreciate your coming on this morning, Mr. Emmanuel Anyaegbunam. We'll be back in just a moment. Join us again.